Hello everybody and welcome back here to Katowice for the ESL One Cologne offline qualifier. We're halfway through the day, 4 games down, 4 games to go, and now a blockbuster, one that many people at home have been waiting for. Our first team to join us on the stage was runner-up at ESL One Cologne last year, but their last LAN victory was at the Game Esports World Cup in Lithuania, and before that, it was DreamHack Cluj-Napoca, a team not used to fighting for a spot in any sort of major situation, of course. They're here, they're ready to qualify, and they're ready to get themselves some glory. It's Team EnVyUS. Well, the boys in blue are joining me here on the stage, of course. I'm with NBK here. Now, I saw on your Twitter earlier on, and obviously we're not used to seeing you wearing glasses at the moment. You said you're having some eye problems in the lead up to this tournament?
Yeah, since Sunday I just have some lesions in my right eye, so I'm just playing with glasses. It doesn't affect my play whatsoever. I just have to play with glasses because I normally do with lenses, but it's nothing bad.
I know a few people were wondering about that one. And look, for you guys, it's been a rocky couple months. You know, let's be honest here. How hard is it to stay patient when you're digging for that next big result, when you're trying to bring yourselves together again and just regroup for example, a qualifier like this to get into Cologne?
We just keep trying things everywhere and every time we can. There is no secret. We just have to find a new formula that is going to win. And yeah, we've had a semi-final in Malmö, which was a decent result all in all. But yeah, we've been really up and down. We've been losing a lot of online games that we should have won. We didn't qualify for any big tournament as of late. That's the first time event we are in for the past 2 months, probably. So yeah, we've been working on a lot of stuff. We have some changes. We've been trying a lot of things, and hopefully we can show that yeah, we're somewhat back to something decent to at least qualify to the major. That's definitely the only one goal we have.
Well, I mean, you got there in the first place by doing the same thing, by just grinding out and working hard. So thanks for joining me, Nathan, and good luck to the rest of you guys. Feel free to take a seat and get ready for this one. And of course, their opponents have had some good performances in the Americas region of late. They are the CSGO champions at the moment as well, with a very strong performance in DreamHack Austin, making it to that grand final. They're coming in under a new name. It's Immortals. So I'm here with Zach, of course, who is the coach of Immortals, obviously with some fancy new jerseys on, guys, looking very, very good. We rocked up to the hotel the other day and saw you guys in your new outfits, very jealous. Look, you guys have had some great success in the American region over the last few months, both online and offline, of course. Austin was great for you guys as well. Online, you've been killing it. Obviously, during those sort of seasons and those leagues, you haven't had a chance to play against many teams from other regions, mostly American teams or North and South American teams. So is there any intimidation factor coming into an event like this as well when there's so many unknowns that you have to deal with? Or are you guys, again, just fairly confident in moving forward no matter what?
Actually, we are very confident against any team in the world we play. It doesn't matter if Chinese or from Europe. We had a time to prepare here. We stayed 1 week with camping, so we are pretty confident. Yeah.
And you guys, watching you guys as well, it's clear to see you're very passionate. You're loud, you're excited, you're always cheering, always talking as well. Does this ever work against you guys? Does it sometimes get too loud in communications and not the right messages coming through? Or somehow do you guys manage to understand each other through all the excitement?
Actually, you just found our secret, because if you play hyped, we play happy, we win. If they play sad, like they stop communicating and start to be like, oh, we're gonna lose this. But if they are happy shouting with each other and shouting to another team, we're probably gonna be the best way we can, you know?
Well, even as an impartial observer, I hope to see some happy noises from you guys as well. So, best of luck. Good luck to all of you guys. Grab a seat, and we'll see you guys, of course, in this game momentarily. Immortals will take their places now in their first best of one of this event, and not an easy one to be going into as well, of course. As we've discussed, EnVyUS, Alex, I guess you can even chime in here as well. EnVyUS have kind of fallen from grace in recent times, but here they are now as well. They're motivated to get to this major. It's very much a back to the drawing board style of things. So I'd be interested to see what they come up with here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think NBK made it clear that they are still trying to find a style that works, Mitch. Thanks very much from you guys over on the stage. Gents, Vendetta and Blue now standing by with me. Let's talk about that in depth. We have got EnVyUS as, I think, our first port of call. The French side that has, like they said, made it to a semi-final, albeit with a bit of a pinch of salt that they did have a rather easy path there, but still, made it to a semi-final in Malmo. They did manage to make a presence known and show that they are still capable players. However, when I mention EnVyUS, I have no doubt that both of you in an analysis role still sit there and go, not the Envy of old, right?
Oh, easily. This is, I guess, new age Envy, and it's not too impressive, to be honest. They haven't really had anything to really boast of. MBK mentioned the semifinals in Malmo, and that's the biggest highlight they've had in quite some time. And as you said, pinch of salt with that result. So for me, this is going to be a pretty big sign of whether or not they're going to be, a contender to actually qualify. Because we've seen Envy at their lowest, and that was probably the MLG tournament in Columbus. The Brazilians are loud.
Well, it's like a war cry.
The chant echoes very loud in here.
It just felt like a shiver down my spine.
But yeah, no, Envy we saw them at the lowest of their lows at MLG, where they just went out in the groups. Yeah. And if that's the kind of event that's going to show up here for the tournament, I think there's just simply too many good teams actually to play for those 8 spots.
Am I hearing you say you don't expect Envy in top 8?
No, I do expect them to end up in top 8, but not if they show up at the same 4 as they did in MLG.
Understood. Okay, you've covered all your bases there.
I know it's a bit of a cop-out, but honestly, what we've seen from them hasn't been too impressive. They've been on losing streaks in ECS, which has pretty much been the only thing they've played since Pro League. Yeah. But they have beaten Dignitas, for instance, in 2 best-of-3s, which is a promising result. Dignitas is by many seen as the favorites to actually go through here. So, they're so up and down that we have to see what kind of an Envy team shows up. But obviously, on paper, player for player, they're skilled enough to easily get a top 8 spot.
I do want to address the name at the bottom of that list with you, Blue. It's always going to be the question because we started this discussion in London with G2 and the other LDLC member Body and how he's actually seems to be finding his feet now. The question then begins, where's Devil at?
Yeah, that is a very good point to look at just overall with Envy, of course, is they're trying to re-evolve themselves, reinvent themselves, I guess you could say to a certain degree, because the old style is just not working as much as it used to anymore. Devil, I feel like he's fitting in okay, judging from the last couple of online matches they play. We really only have ECS to go off of. But he's been melding into a decent amount there, but we're not really seeing him shine very well as of yet. A common theme you'll notice if you look at past good results for Envy when they actually do win their matchups, is that there's always one player that shows up to the game and just comes up with a huge star performance that carries the rest of the team through the match and actually allows them to win. Looking at the past 10 or 11 maps that EnVyUS have actually played, I haven't really seen a game where Devils showed up with that kind of star performance that carried them through as of yet. So while he's there, he's performing fairly consistently. There are still a lot of games where he actually drops off the scoreboard, and we're not seeing anything amazingly impressive from him as of yet.
And ironically, we're actually saying Kiyoshima is doing that for FaZe. He's left away from EnVyUS, and now he's doing what basically Envy needed from him when he was underperforming. So that change of the guard hasn't worked out for EnVyUS, and we do need to move over to the Brazilians because there's a lot of excitement surrounding these guys, especially now they have that motivation of a new organization behind them as well. Immortals picks them up and wants to see how far they can go. I feel like these are one of the teams that everyone expects to be at that major.
Yeah, I think that's fair. At least I'm one of the believers that Immortals are going to make it through without too much of a hassle. Right. They have a solid map pool. They obviously it's a bit of a mix, getting Inferno removed from the map pool and having Nuke getting back in there, so that's going to mess up the vetoes for a couple of teams and how strong their map pool is going to be overall. But for the better part of it, the Brazilians are pretty good on every map. Yeah. They don't really have a super weak spot, and Overpass I guess would be that, but that's you're always going to have at least one veto. So that's not really something they have to worry about.
One of the big benefits that Immortals is always going to have behind themselves is that they're so close to their sister team, which is, of course, if everybody knows, it's Luminosity. And although they've said before in a couple of interviews, I think it was mentioned at Austin, that they don't actually practice so much together. From physical basis, they do share a lot of strats and experiences that they've had from LAN to each other. So any sort of gaps in experience-wise that Immortals may have from just not attending as many international LANs as LG have managed to have, they make up for that by sort of getting some of that intel from their team.
I mean, I basically feel like Immortals as well, because I watch Gamers Academy now with Fallen, so I'm almost the same. I'm almost an Immortals 6th man. I know now.
You were talking about your op skills earlier.
I know how to hold mid-window Mirage now, thanks to Fallen. Really appreciate that, bro. Shout out to you and your tutorials. But no, let's look at the Veto. You touched on it already, Vendetta, but let's explore that a little further. You said they've got a very deep map pool. I don't think that criticism can actually be flipped onto Envy. How's their map pool looking?
Well, right now they don't really have a map. I guess statistically, Cobblestone is their best map right now. Unfortunately for them, that's also the best map for Tempo Storm. It's one of the, I guess, where they can be world beaters. So that's a bit of an issue for Envy. Otherwise, everything else is just a mess. Their second best map was Inferno, and that's gone. It's completely gone. And well, obviously we don't know for sure, but I doubt Envy has put a massive amount of time on Nuke.
So
it seems like everyone's doubting everyone on Nuke at the moment.
I mean, Immortals isn't going to waste it. Like, we've seen a couple teams playing chicken with it, and they just leave it in there for a little bit longer, but Immortals isn't going to waste any time with it. First thing, we're getting that knocked out.
And speaking of playing chicken, Overpass is a common ban for both these teams, so it's going to be interesting to see who has to kind of waste their ban on it. And I guess, well, with the way they're going, it's going to have to be Immortals, because they don't want to leave it up to chance and potentially allow the map to go through. So right now, I guess it's going towards Train as a map that both teams play. Envy has not too much luck on it, but we have to take in consideration when we look at the statistics that the opponents Envy play on a regular basis on these maps are way stronger than most of the opponents that Immortals have to deal with in NA.
Yeah, so the options are laid out in front of them: Train or Dust2. Where are they taking it? They've already seen one surprising Dust2 result.
They've already played Dust2 versus each other, and I think that was actually back at Malmo, if I'm not mistaken.
Just run with it. I believe you.
Yeah. No, but they have played it in the past, and Envy won 16-9. That's actually one of the few wins they've had in the last last 3 months or so, right? So it's going to be Dust2 again. So for Tempo Immortals, I'm sorry, this is going to be time for redemption. This is going to be their moment to show whether or not they've improved from last time. And Envy, they couldn't have asked for a better map, really.
Yeah, but then you also have to remember that Immortals are a team that are not afraid to go through demos and are not afraid to break losses down.
Exactly, which is why it's time for redemption. They've already lost to Envy now. They have some experience playing that team on this very map. Got a coach doing a lot of work for them here in Zach, and this is a good chance to see if they've actually improved and if they can go up against at least what used to be a top European team.
And let's run with that point, Zach. Of course, everyone actually hailed Peacemaker, their previous coach, as quite a solid presence within what was ex-Tempo, now Immortals. Like, I remember a lot of discussions on the desk where we'd sit there and go, Peacemaker does a lot for them. It's evident in his interviews and in his interactions with the team. He left immediately as soon as it seemed like he wasn't wanted, and now we have Zach. What do you think about this switch blue? Did you feel the loss already?
I don't feel like I've felt the loss just as of yet. This is going to be a very telling thing as to how much of an impact overall Peacemaker has on just the drive of the team. But since they've already sort of replaced him that quickly, I feel like they're sort of ready to move on plan pretty quickly. Yeah, they've already had a plan. Like, this was something that they knew was going to happen eventually, and they were already able to make up for it. Yeah. Normally, you don't see teams like find a new coach that quickly. Like Mouse Sports, Deco is one example, has been a team that's been struggling greatly to find someone else to fill that role.
And I mean, in terms of pedigree, Zach has more than Peacemaker. Obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean that because you were a better player, you're going to transfer into a better coach, obviously. But Zach has definitely been in these kinds of situations before, with his old teams. So he can definitely bring some of that into it. And he kind of knows how it is to be in the thick of things. And apparently, well, if the team wants him, and it was so evident by how quick the swap was made, I think that overall it should just be a positive change.
Positivity then for the Brazilians, and you can see the huddle. They're actually smiles on the faces of Envy, not something you often see.
At least for now.
Yeah, let's stick with that. Let's keep that happiness flowing. As you can see, the man himself actually on your screens as well. Gents, it's time for predictions. Blue, Halvor, what have you got for me?
I'm leaning towards Envy, honestly, simply because I don't see a world where we don't have a major without Envy. And I think if it's any time, they haven't played too many tournaments, they haven't had to travel too much as of late, so they should have had enough time to actually get practice in. They've gotten to a map that should be pretty good for them. They didn't make any terrible mistakes during their veto, so I'm leaning towards EnVyUS for this one.
I'm going to go in the other direction. I actually think Immortals are going to be able to take this one. I still feel like Envy have been very, very iffy over the past couple of months. Dust2 has not been a map that I feel like they're extremely prominent on based on the recent ECS results and some of the other maps that we've seen them play online as of late. And for Immortals, they're on a hot streak. They just won the Premier Finals, so they finally qualified for Pro League. The League thing has been a big talking point with them, and they always wanted to earn that validation of getting into it, stuff like E-League and stuff. And now they're in Pro League and whatnot. They're up there. They definitely want to continue to prove themselves, and finally getting their first spot into a major is going to be one right here, especially considering they missed out on it last time time at Columbus.
And what better way to start that climb than beating a major champion? It would be EnVyUS, of course, with just one player difference. I think it's time for us to jump into this one, though, folks. You can see they are still just finishing off their huddle. I just want to remind everyone, the hype that came from Shox' speech, maybe there's a similar thing going on in this this French camp. Did you guys see that? Did you have your heartstrings plucked by Shox?
Yeah, it took a little bit, but you know that always happens when you see Shox.
Yeah. Did you see? It felt very reminiscent of a video of Existence doing something similar from way back when in the very games days. It was like two of these French guys just doing this whole super emotional power speech.
I don't think we had a translation for what Existence said in his video, but maybe Shox just copied that.
Copy and
Who
paste.
knows? Yeah, exactly.
Control-C,
it worked.
Control-V.
So
It certainly did, and with the French roar airing through Katowice, we're going to jump into this, and your casters are ready as well. It's time for Envy versus Immortals, a highly anticipated game between these two titans. Let's have a look how it goes down on Dust2.
Thank you very much, Alex. So here we go. We're going to be jumping into the fray on Dust2 again between these two Goliaths. But if you were a newcomer to Counter-Strike and you didn't follow the history, you'd think EnVyUS were a mediocre team off their results.
Wow, okay. Guns blazing. Coming in with guns blazing.
I think it's a fair statement. The only
yeah.
map they have more wins than losses on is Cobblestone. Every other map they have more losses than wins.
If you've never watched Counter-Strike prior to 2016, yeah, I think you probably make that assessment. It's only fair. They've had some time off now, obviously. We haven't really seen all too much about them. I think it's something that definitely needed, considering how it's been going throughout the early parts of this year. But this is kind of the testing waters for Envy. Where do they stand? How's the future going to be like? Because I can see some major changes going into this lineup if they would not qualify for the major.
This is a must qualify.
It definitely is. And now they're going to be facing up against Immortals, who on their own right, being on the rise recently, but also in the previous MLG qualification, they kind of choked. Everyone started thinking they had a great start to the year, very much opposite from what Envy did. That everyone thought that they would be getting into the previous major. Did not happen, but it seems that we are live. It's going to be the pistol round, and Envy starting on the CT side, Immortals on the T side, and we have a 4 armor buy from the Brazilian side in this pistol round.
Statistics for you, Natu. 7 maps played on Dust2 for EnVyUS. They've won 2. One of them was against Immortals. It's Vendetta brought up. The other one, FaZe. And here we go. The push is going to be coming through. Phelps gets himself picked off. And what a fantastic start from EnVyUS. 4 kills make it 5. Unanswered. The other stat I was going to give you, obviously it's changed now. Even though they've lost 5 times and won twice, their pistol round win percentage was 78% on this map.
Wow.
So it's just probably gone up to 82 or so. But
yeah,
they've lost 5 times, winning most of the pistol rounds.
Yep.
And obviously, pistol round is massive in Counter-Strike.
It definitely is. And what a way to start for Envy there. Apex and MBK just sparing down that attack from Immortals. With 2 people basically against 5. It's going to be a long push coming in from Immortals, though. They decided to half-fight into this round. It's going to be Phelps with the first kill. It's going to be Phelps with the second one as well. It's going to be a quick 5-on-3 advantage. Going away from Immortals.
After a phenomenal pistol round that's gone horribly wrong for EnVyUS, they can still steady the ship. They can still bring this one back. And Apex and Kenny are going to do just that. With their assault rifles, another kill comes down. EnVyUS have brought it back to a 2-on-2. 2 Deagles in play for Immortals, and it's Bolt and Lucas. Very capable of picking this one off, but Bolt has gone down, leaving Lucas against Apex and MBK.
Doesn't have an armor, but it has a Deagle, and we know with this range, a lot of things can happen when the Deagle is in hand. Envy players are being smart about it. They're not peeking all too much. They're just getting a bit of information on what's going on, where Lucas is, but right now they're not even peeking. Well, here comes the peek, just as I say it. So this should be a 1 for Envy, but as I said, Deagle can be dangerous if you get the clear shot.
Have the bomb down here. EnVyUS playing with fire, didn't get burnt though. Second round, although 3 players lost. That is considerable amounts of rebuys, replenished weapons coming in, but I think they mainly lost their SMGs, so it's not the end of the world.
It's definitely not the end of the world, and now, well, going into this round, obviously, Immortals is not going to be buying, so for Envy, they want to try to keep it as clean as possible to try to build a bit of bank. Obviously, they have some MP9s in play, and you can harvest, literally harvest money with those things. Seems as though Henny has already made his way towards long. Spotted it's empty, and look at this defense from Envy, very, very conservative. Just Kenny here spotting on long. He gets the information that they're pushing from long. It's going to be smoking off the front of the site. Flash in and wait for teammates coming to the rescue, but instead he's going to be the one initiating, along with Happy to make it a 5-on-3.
Thing is, this is a fake. The bomb was going over to the B side, but it has been plucked out of the hands of Showtime. See what Immortals were going for now. The flank could become a reality, as Happy is going in with his MP9 up round the back of the Brazilians. Lucas is surrounded, but actually lands the one tap onto Devil. And will go down afterwards. So very solid round from EnVyUS. You could see what Immortals were going for, but what they needed was a bit more action over on the long side. Didn't really come. Here comes the op though for Kenny.
Now let's see what the enemy decides to do. Happy seems to be holding on to that MP9. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of choices they make in terms of their positioning. Some kind of a risk is something they'll probably do, considering the weaponry they have on two players. Devil with the Tech 9 and Happy with an MP9.
Oh, fantastic. And look at this rush from Immortals as well. They have the full AK-47s coming in, but MBK puts down Showtime. A second kill comes in for him as well. Bomb's been dropped down in no man's land, and this has gone horribly wrong for Immortals. They had the better weaponry coming into this round, but it's gone the way of EnVyUS pretty convincingly. Henny and his AWP scampering away to T-spawn.
Yeah, he's got a minute and 25 to play with here, so it's not going to be easy to try and save this one, that's for sure. That was a weird one. I mean, it seemed like a bit of a statement rush from Immortals, just going into trying to plow into the B bomb side, trying to dictate the plays, and basically just say that we are the ones who dictate the pace. Kenny gets that kill. It's going to be all 5 surviving for EnVyUS as well. So interesting times, have interesting choices from Immortals, has to be said.
Match pause.
Yeah.
As well. I'm not sure if this is a technical issue. I assume it would be. It's to be fairly early days to be calling a tactical pause.
Yeah, definitely would not make any sense. That's MBK just asking what is going on.
It's not really an answer, to be honest.
Not yours.
What's up? Yeah.
Yep. That's the best possible answer one can give. Oh, sorry. What's me? Oh.
Great banter.
Admin. What y'all doing?
Apparently had to fix something, so hopefully we will be good to jump back in again. But you can see the money right now. The money situation, as you'd expect from a 4-0, convincing win so far. Looking pretty healthy for the CPs.
Yeah, good job from MBK as well. I mean, the flashes were spot on just to stop that push. It definitely got stopped in its tracks, right into the entrance through that tunnel. He gets the first kill, and the remaining Immortals players just getting stuck into the little tube into the bomb site. So EnVy with a healthy 4-0 lead. Obviously they're back already building up here off of those 2 rounds that they managed to get very cleanly. This is obviously going to mean as well that Immortals is going to be saving. They have 3 smokes to play with, and they decided to smoke off that Xbox. Still 2 more. The best case scenario for them right now is to create an after-plan situation, meaning money for the following round and also an opportunity, well, obviously the best case scenario, win a round, but at least make it costly for EnVy.
Yeah, but the realistic mission right now from Immortals, as you say, maybe get a kill, get that bomb planted, bolster up the buy next round. Get your hands on an AWP. They're going to go for the run boost. Up on catwalk, Kenny with the first kill, able to relocate, puts his sights down, and he's such a solid player in these situations. Once again, showing his worth. 2 kills, Happy's there. 3rd kill for Kenny. Beautiful AWP control. And Happy with a second, so full house of kills, and EnVyUS don't lose another player once again.
Yeah, that's a play we see from Hellraiser's a lot of the times. They actually managed to surprise some teams at the EU Minor in Tours a few weeks back with that little run boost on Catwalk. But now we're going to have AWP in play in Henny from Immortals, so that's suggesting that they will probably not just rush B. But at least that's not advisable.
Well, the worrying sign for Immortals, it's early days, of course, but Henny, one of their star players, 005, hasn't got a kill yet on Dust2. Neither does Bolt, so 2 players that you're looking at to really carry forward Immortals are yet to find a kill.
Look at this approach. Immortals taking their sweet time before going to middle. Kenny already positions to take a peek lower tunnels, but it's going to be Henny coming out on top of that, off of the flash coming from mid. And that's early 5-on-4 advantage going the way of the Brazilians. Obviously going to leave some room into the map for them to take and use it as their advantage.
It's going to definitely smart, and EnVyUS going to be feeling that. It's going to sting. After now split up 2-2 formation, 2A, 2B. Devil going to be holding Pit. Meanwhile, Happy at the back of the site on Goose. Mid control has been given up, and EnVyUS don't have a great deal of grenades to play with either. Just a smoke and a couple flashes. Smoke gets used as I'm speaking, so they have no real way of fending off an onslaught. It's going to have to come down to raw aim.
Yeah, Happy right now, being the lone player on this A bomb side, that seems to be the target for Immortals. They're setting up their smokes. Just looking off catwalk down to CT spawn. So Molotoving that CT spawn ramp. And making their way into the bomb site. Happy though. He's getting Molotov. EnVyUS is going to have to come out. He gets one kill. He's going to get more. He's not. Lucas going to be able to take that kill. Now they've taken over catwalk. And they know there's probably going to be one more somewhere towards this A site. So they decide to go for the more conservative catwalk plant.
Bomb down. 3-on-4 retake. As I mentioned previously, no grenades for EnVyUS to utilize on their retake.
Not really.
Oh, this kill would have meant everything. Apex needed to get that one, especially as NBK has opened up on catwalk. Nearly gets a second. Finally, Apex lands the frag onto Lucas. Does significant damage onto Phelps, who has to back away. Comes back in for seconds, doesn't lose his life. And for thirds, how is Phelps still alive? And there's the AK-47 headshot. I thought for a second Henny landed the no-scope. Devil trying some shenanigans, but probably going to lose his life as a result of this. How is Phelps alive? Finally dies. I think justice was done. The round will go Immortals' way. Oh my goodness. Okay. That just happened.
I mean, why not, right? Well, they get to, Hitty gets to keep that up and gets a, a casual kill there in middle through the doors. Why not? But obviously, very costly round for Immortals, losing everyone else except for Henny. So pressure is on for this round here for Immortals because they don't have all too much utility to work with. Gully in play as well for Showtime, and here comes a long push from them. They're going to have to face 3 of the enemy players. Lucas, though, he's going to be the one to open things up on the Devil. Kenny already getting a lot of damage, but then he's going to be happy, and Kenny's still alive here on this site.
Immortals have the 2-player advantage now as down goes Apex. MBK all by his lonesome, but he's coming up from catwalk, and judging from where the players have died and where MBK typically resides, that Molly was there to greet him. Showtime will finish off what he started with the fire damage. Immortals with 2 rounds on the bounce, and now EnVyUS' economy not looking quite as pretty, although they will be able to get themselves a buy back up. Kenny on 3.4k will need a drop though.
Rather classic A split there coming from Immortals, applying pressure on long with 3 players, and then Showtime was basically the guy to clinch it through catwalk with those 3 kills in the end of the day. And that's going to be that second round in a row, so they were not getting reset. They also managed to survive with quite a few people, meaning a bit of bank is going to be built for them as well.
If EnVyUS lose this round though, Natu, then you're looking at Immortals leapfrogging their way back towards equality. Can ES on a glass cannon or will find himself once again lurking around short, just looking for the catwalk push. Meanwhile, Bomb in lower tunnels. Slow and steady wins the race as far as Immortals are concerned, not really giving anything away for free. Close angle has been assumed from Devil, so pretty solid position when that smoke is down. As the smoke clears, he will be backing away. A bit too dangerous now, especially if a pop flash lands in his face. EnVyUS walking on eggshells as a result of their economy.
Right now it seems like Envy just holding off this catwalk position with Kenny scoping down there, waiting for anyone to push, and that's going to be the flash. And Kenny not going to connect with that bullet, instead has to fall back. That's going to be happy on this A bomb site. And now it's decision time right now for Immortals of what they want to do. They have 3 players on catwalk, and they might be going for either a push from catwalk or to a B split through CT spawn.
Whatever their decision, they're going to have to start to get a move on. 35 seconds left. 5 flashes, and that's all that EnVyUS have in terms of utility. One of which is just connected onto catwalk. And there goes another one. Kenny S will be watching the angle as the charge comes through. Lucas, meanwhile, drops down into CT spawn. This opens up some more options now for Immortals. It's all down to Apex. There's only 15 seconds left. He's going to look to try and get a second kill. Goes down, but the frags are being exchanged left, right, and center. Now the bomb will get through onto the B side. And that should be the round for Immortals. The question now for EnVyUS, do you want to go for this, or do you want to save these 2 assault rifles?
It's always a hard retake when you're outnumbered. And it's a B bomb side Dust2. Henny also going to get a kill onto Happy, so it's only going to be on Devil. But if Hamas no kit, well, he's going to find a kit, but still, 1-on-2 situation, he's already bowing out of it. Going down to T spawn, so it was that CT spawn B split where 3 push tunnels, 2 came through middle, one of those 2 coming through CT spawn, and they managed to apply enough pressure. MBK trying to push tunnel. Timing was not his friend, as he gets caught off as he was jumping in there. Gets killed instantly, and Apex not managed to do enough damage as the T's came pouring in from both sides, only getting 1 kill. And that was the site lost and pretty much a round dealt with.
Apex top fragging. The only player to drop double digits, 11 for 3. Immortals are clawing their way back in. tooth and nail. MBK going to pick up a scout just to equalize the economy, but it is by and large going to be a half-buy/eco. Still enough weaponry and firepower to cause problems for Immortals if they take this round for granted, but on paper Immortals should be able to get themselves one round closer to that 5-5 scoreline.
This is an NV classic right now. It's going to be a catwalk push coming in with Bolts with the double kill on Apex and Devil. It's going to just demolish that defense right from the get-go. Makes it a 5-on-3, a minute and 30 on the clock still, so this is the time where the CGs have to make plays, and that is a play if I've ever seen one. MBK with that scout headshot is going to make things a little easier for Envy.
And Bolts with that one passage of play, tripling his kills. Goes to show how slow he's been starting off. Bomb dropped out. They may be a little bit nervous in case MBK's scout is still peering across, hence the smoke. Didn't want to take any chances. MBK, of course, we can see with the luxury of our mini-map. He's over on B and pose no threat, but that is a smoke expanded. They still have 3, make that 4 more to play with for Immortals, so definitely worthwhile to be safe. But they're going to be walking into where 2 of the remaining 3 players from EnVyUS reside, and that's over on the A side.
Well, if they're smart about it, they're going to use their utility going in. Instead, they're going to be walking, so almost a risk in that. A pop flash comes in, Happy's waiting his sweet time to use his CZ. Not going to be able to get a kill. Just deal a lot of damage to Phelps. So we're going to go for a second peek, gets Showtime, but then traded off by Phelps. Kenny also connecting on to Kenny, so that's going to be all up to MBK. And his armor and a scout, I think he's going to just try to save this one into the following round.
Yeah, worthwhile weapon to save with the Kevlar, especially on Dust2. Maybe he can get an exit frag.
It's always a possibility, isn't it? And we still have a lot of money to buy into the, or not a lot of money, but money to buy into the following round, so he can take some risks if he wants to, and try to waste some money off of Immortals, who on their own right are not sitting at that much money either, so it's going to be important for them to try to save these 3 weapons just as well.
Little surprised that MBK saw an AK-47 on Xbox. Oh, maybe he's going back for it. Yeah, he is. He did spot that. He was just making sure he cleared out the angles first, so AK saved. Definitely worthwhile endeavor for EnVyUS. That being said, though, Immortals have picked up the last 4 rounds on the bounce, including 2 bomb detonations, so they are certainly starting to shift through the gears themselves. EnVyUS, got to be careful.
It's been very streaky so far, hasn't it? First 5 for Envy and now 4 for Immortals. Let's see if it's going to be 5-5. That's the question. We have a UMP in play by Devil. And AWP on Kenny with no armor, but still has a smoke and 2 flashes, but we know. Op on Kenny is always important. There can be Envy just taking over this long area with a pop flash. No contesting from Immortals coming in though. They are taking it more passively. Seems like Envy wants to get Devil into that long house. Exactly what's happening, but Bolt is ready for it. He gets the kill. And that's going to make Envy fall back.
That's absolutely nuts from EnVyUS. They decided to triple peek it without any flashes, nothing. That plays into the hands of Immortals, who of course are going to get there before them.
The weird part was that no one wanted to go for retaliation, as Bolt is going to get his 2nd pick of the round to make it a quick 5-on-3 situation. Now Apex trying to retaliate in middle, but decides to fall back. Probably the smart choice, considering there's just 4 turrets in that middle area. Now, makes his way towards the CT spawn, and we have a little bit more of this Immortals players going towards Catwalk than any other place. In fact, they are just waiting right now for Envy to do a play, because in this situation, when you're down-numbered on the CT side, you sort of have to do the plays. So Immortals being smart about it, they recognize the situation.
Which is exactly why Apex went for the flash and crossed the CT side, because 2 players died, of course, on the A side of the map. So he was worried in case the fast charge came through onto long. Apex with the first headshot, been the standout player from EnVyUS so far. Maybe he can claw this one back. MBK, meanwhile, on the site is Apex, pardon me, gets a 2nd kill. MBK with the frag with the AK-47 is keeping the dream alive. But Bolt's trying to put it back to rest again. 2-on-2, 20 seconds. MBK gets picked off. And now Happy with the AWP, with it all to do. The bomb will get planted. Happy's going to be moving his way up, misses the flick, and Bolt will get the 5th round for Immortals. So went 5-0 to EnVyUS, back to 5-5, and now EnVyUS' economy. Kenny and Happy both on mid-3000s.
I will have to criticize the Immortals though a little bit on that round, because of a 5-on-3 advantage, group up and push aside, you still have a lot of utility to go with. Instead, they sent one in the middle to run out, Apex getting that kill, and they just kind of went very individually in those situations. So obviously, they did win it, but it was way more costly. It was way too close for comfort for them. So you got to be more careful about these situations. Now, EnVy definitely is not sitting pretty with their money, so they've opted to invest into this a little bit. Still going to be able to buy in the following round.
I think it's the manner in which they won that's going to be worrying for Immortals, but this round should be gift-wrapped now to the Brazilians. I mentioned before that EnVyUS had 2 players skirting around 3.4k. As a result, CZ with Kevlar. 2 players already lost their life, make it 3, make it 4, and it's just Kenny with 2 health that stands between Immortals and their 6th consecutive round. And he's circling the drain, put out of his misery courtesy of Lucas. Immortals take the lead for the first time.
Well, see if EnVy can change their CT play a little bit. I mean, we've seen them try to push into the long house, for example, but Bolt's just nullifying that. Just a little advice in the future, for future reference, maybe you want to go for the retaliation once you lose the first member instead of falling back and just giving that 5-on-4 advantage to your opponents. But see how it differs this time around. They still EnVy putting heavy emphasis on that long area. Have sent a Devil there, and the rest of them actually falling back this time around.
This is where EnVyUS need to get headstrong. Had a huge lead, you've let it slip, it's gone the other way. Can you bounce back? Are you just going to disappear, as we've seen so many times over this last 3 to 6 month period? No big events won by them since GEC, I think it was, which is towards the end of January, February time. So it shows how long they've been. It's been a drought of Counter-Strike for EnVyUS.
It's definitely been that. And well, right now, it's Immortals taking their time. And they are gathering up into the upper tunnels, so that does imply that the possibility of a P-push coming in, but there's 2 CTs here. They're waiting for a possible push. It's smoke into the tunnel comes in as well, and MBK gonna get that first kill on Phelps, who peeked it a little bit too early for his teammates to be able to help him out. And I think that's gonna just stop the push that Immortals were planning.
Still keeping 2 players here because they're not entirely sure if this is a fake or if it's a straight-up execute. I think for Immortals, they do have Bolts who's circling around Catwalk, maybe going to try and sell a fake. 3 players over there from EnVyUS. But there's MBK, he's got himself a 2nd kill, looking for a 3rd. These flashes are on point, pixel perfect play. And now the aforementioned Bolts, who was over on Catwalk, has the arduous task of trying to make something happen out of nothing. The bomb's been dropped on B. He doesn't have time to play with, doesn't want to die after time. Looks like EnVyUS will stop this streak.
Finally, and comes off of a attempted to push towards the B bomb site. MBK doing pretty much all the work. And it's more being the B splits, it's been the pushes from Catwalk, using the spawns so long. That's really worked well for Immortals. Their B pushes have definitely not been spot on. So maybe you want to steer away from the straight up pushes to the B bomb site if you are Immortals. But good for EnVy, finally getting on the board, and they also managed to stay alive with multiple members, so meaning they will have a little bit of buffer building up for future reference.
Double ops in. MBK and Kenny S with 1 apiece, and he takes a fair chunk of damage. Will be scampering away. Early confrontation goes the way of EnVyUS. That doesn't necessarily paint the full picture of how this round could play out.
No, definitely not right now. It's going to be Devil here. Very close to 3 turrets, make it 4 actually. And they're just waiting for the right time to push to this long area. And Devil doesn't have any help whatsoever. He's got all of it to do by himself. But now actually, it's going to be Immortals just falling back from him. So it's going to be relief when you're Devil.
Flashes through on mid Apex, trying to get some prey. Meanwhile, Immortals starting to maneuver themselves through long and Catwalk respectively. Devil is the man in question, but gets a pop flash, just holds the trigger down and picked up by Bolts. That's got a sting now for EnVyUS, especially as Happy is stood there, and I was about to say there's 2 players there. He didn't notice the showtime was laid in wait. Meanwhile, Kenny S will put him down, looks for a 2nd kill, picks that one up, and now Apex goes around the corner, and EnVyUS cleaning up on long. Very nicely played, but that was looking so sketchy for a few moments on short.
Yeah, it definitely was, but a nice flash there to help out that defense on Catwalk definitely paid dividends. And then Kenny obviously coming into play, stopping the push on long, and here was the Apex also chiming into things with another pop flash. So the body system working great for EnVy in that regard. He delayed a push coming in on that previous round, or a split rather, but this time it's going to be a full-on rush. Too long. Devil being the first man and gets 2, making 3 kills, and the bomb is down 2. Bolt is coming in. He's going to get 1. Close to getting another. He does get it. So 4 HP left. Playing against 3 members. Now it's only 2 left anymore. Somehow he makes that work too. So Apex and MBK now alive against Bolts, but MBK should be spotting Bolts. He does, and he's going to connect with that P250 to make that round go the way of Envy. But great play from Devil, who's been massively struggling for the first, well, throughout the first half, you could say.
Yeah, one of the first moments we've really seen him shine. He's on 6 for 9, so before that triple spray down, 3 for 9. Well, 3 for 8, pardon me. Not great. Apex, meanwhile, 17 for 6. The only player with more kills than deaths is Bolts. Remember, he stopped at 005. So he's been stepping things up miraculously for Immortals. Definitely one of the reasons why they have 6 rounds right now. But here we go, last round, and they're going to have pistols. They have the Kevlar, they have sacrificed the firepower in order for more utility. And, well, Tech9s and Deagle are still very powerful.
It definitely is, especially if you give short-range battles to your opponents. Then it can definitely work out. Right now, they're sneaking their way towards the catwalk. They still have all the grenades in the world pretty much to use here. Pop flash coming on Cat as well. I notice that it's going to be a defensive positioning from Envy. We're probably going to see a smoke off to see the spawn. One there right where Kenny is aiming right now. And then a rain of flashes to come in to make it uncomfortable for Kenny. He's going to get blinded, has to fall back too.
They have managed to get control of A site, but that's only half of the battle. EnVyUS will have Molotovs, flashes, smokes, pretty much everything you can ask for on this retake. Bomb planted, Phelps 1 health, Lucas dead. Partially tagged up from Phelps as well before he falls down. Second kill now for EnVyUS, and this retake looking oh so good. Often double op isn't the greatest composition to retake with, but in this situation it's looking good. Henny gets 2 kills though, and that opens up this round, making it 3rd as well. Now he is the last remaining terrorist on this half for Immortals. Can he pull off a crazy play? This is where the double ops could struggle a tiny bit. They're actually having to switch to their sidearms to try and stop this one, but MBK will land it through the smoke, and EnVyUS pick up a 9th round. But Immortals, fair play to them. They started this half very poorly. They bounced back. They're still in with this.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, being 5-0 down, getting 6 rounds in the end, it's reasonable. Obviously, there is room for more rounds as well there. On that last round, good play from Envy in a way. They gave the room to the Tech9s and Deagles to come in and then utilizing their grenades to try and take over the bomb side. Obviously, Henny single-handedly trying to make it work for Immortals, but it was, well, 9-6 for Envy, and that's something they're going to be pretty happy with.
Absolutely. We're going to see if they can keep that momentum going through into the second half just after this short commercial break. welcome back to the action here in the qualifiers for, of course, Cologne, the next major. EnVyUS, previous major winners, albeit not with this 5 roster lineup, do lead by 3 rounds, but in fairness to Immortals, they have kept neck and neck after a pretty poor start, so anybody's game. But I go back to that statistic again. EnVyUS, their pistol round win percentage on this map is crazy. It's over 80% now, so well, that's got to play in the minds of Immortals.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if they pay attention too much into that kind of stats, right? But it's going to be interesting for us to see if Envy manages to bolster that statistic, or if we're going to see a bit of a dent into it in this pistol round. And if we look at the buy, we can already see it here, obviously, with Apex with a smoke and 2 flashes, and everyone else from Envy with some armors, and are live here in the second half of this, what's been an interesting one so far. It's a 9-6 lead for Envy, and the pistol is live.
This pistol round, if EnVyUS were to secure it and get the subsequent rounds, will give them a 6-round lead, which is a big amount of difference between the two teams. So Immortals are going to be on their tiptoes. Full Glocks in for EnVyUS. We saw earlier Fluffy Gangsters opting for a Deagle. A lot of teams will go for that one on the T side. Here we go. Here's the play. Apex, the sole man with utility on the side of the terrace. Meanwhile, Immortals have a couple of smokes and defuse kits in Lucas and Phelps' hands. But it is going to be the A play, with Happy lurking in the shadows of B tunnels. Meanwhile, Phelps going to be trying to land some headshots, puts the hammer down onto MBK, looking for a second kill as well. Finally, there's too many terrorists to contend with. He's running out of bullets anyway. With KS landing the shot onto Bolt, that bomb is going to get planted now.
It's a hard retake too. It's going to be for long now. Happy to get that kill on Lucas. It's all down to Henny now in a 1-on-4 situation. Bomb planted for long. I think that's going to be all she wrote for Immortals in this pistol round. And both of them going the way of Envy. So statistically, I think the Frenchmen are sitting quite pretty in this match right now.
Definitely. There's no questions whatsoever. They are in prime position. Double MAC-10 pickup for EnVyUS. Scout in the hands of Kenny S. You expect an assault rifle. It's going to go in the hands of Devil. And meanwhile, MBK with his UMP. Immortals with 5.7s.
Yeah, they've invested into this quite a bit, actually. And we see a long push coming in from Apex. It's already down to 40 HP. So there's going to be 3 CTs that's going to have to face. One of them in the smoke. That's going to be Phelps, who has full flash himself in towards that slope. And he's going to get that kill on the Apex, but his teammates at the meanwhile, are already pushed up on Catwalk and taking over that A-bomb site. So, situation recovered by Envy.
Easy pickings for EnVyUS. Happy was hoping to get more farm in through mid. Gets picked off. Lucas now has the MAC-10 for himself, but no lack of head armor on EnVyUS, enough free kills, got to say. Grenade whizzes past his head, and Kenny S will make amends with a Tech 9. EnVyUS one step closer to the finish line. Going to be a long tournament for both these teams, you feel. But starting off with a win would be massive for EnVyUS's confidence.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing about this system is even though these 2 teams are facing one another, and we feel, I guess, that both of them should make it to the major, that, you know, it's definitely not all over or anything like that. It's still going to be the system of get 3 wins and you're through to the major, basically. So, I mean, obviously you want to start on a good note, but it's not the end of the world. But as I say that, it's going to be a bit of a battle here going on in the middle. A lot of damage dealt to EnVyUS players, and actually it becomes a 3-on-3, but still nothing but on the Immortals side. They only have those USBs to play with off of the force spy they had in the previous round. So right now, what they were looking for is to try to kill as many members from enemy to make it as costly as possible. Ideally winning a round, but that's not in the cards right now. I don't think it's very much possible. The bomb has already made its way towards that A-bomb site.
Yeah, highly improbable that Immortals win from this point, but yeah, as you say, if they can get a cheeky kill here or there, maybe scamper away with a weapon and give that save to round 19, that's job done. All 3 going to stick together for now. Apex has heard movement. He's going to look to try and get himself a few kills, but actually gets picked off. And in doing so, the scouts been picked up for Lucas now, so they're looking to grasp onto a couple of these weapons. 2 MAC-10s in play. But as expected, EnVyUS is going to be locking it down, and will take the 12-6 lead, which is significant. This is where Immortals are going to start to struggle a little bit. They're only going to have a couple chances with these rifle rounds. They have to make them count.
That is definitely the situation now. Here comes the first weapon round of the second half, and you can already see Henny and Showtime both going on ops. So that is going to be the Brazilian side going directly to those double ops. Let's see what kind of an approach Envy has to throw at us. Are they going to keep a high tempo here, or just going to play with the picks? They did play slow. that could potentially play in the hands of Immortals with these 2 ops in play.
EnVyUS have everything you can ask for. Immortals, nearly, but they are lacking on grenades. No incendiaries, only the 1 HE.
And 1 defuse kit as well.
Yes, good point. Just 1 smoke. So they are bottom of the barrel, scraping through with what they can, and MBK through the smoke. Showtime is a dead man, and now Immortals have to try and fend off the onslaught through Catwalk as 3 players are starting to congregate together and push down. The drop is in, but Apex is there in command. He gets traded out from Bolts, but it's a 4-on-2. Immortals are going to have to dig deep for this round.
A bit of an over-rotation there from Immortals off of that member dying in that A-bomb side. Showtime going down there. It seems like both players towards that A-bomb side decided to go towards the CT spawn, and right at that time, Envy decides to push Catwalk, and as we can see, it is a 4-on-2. The bomb is down, and Immortals already, with Bolts and Lucas, trying to save these weapons, so definitely not an ideal situation for the Brazilian side, who is probably going for a tactical pause at this point.
Yeah.
As it is going to be 13-6 for Envy.
It's that kind of time of the game, right? You're 13-6, you got maybe 1-2 rifle rounds left.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, I mean, this is already maybe. It's becoming very desperate for Immortals. It's more about trying to stop the momentum from Envy, and obviously think it through. How do we approach this? We just don't want to lose members and bombs up before anything really happens, and. Let's see, that's the way it's going to be. Obviously going down 9-6 in the first half and then losing the pistol round, then forcing up in the second round. That's putting a lot of pressure into that first weapon round. And now that they've lost it, yeah, it gets very iffy for them.
I guess a slight saving grace is they're able to save those 2 weapons in the previous round, so they can afford another buy. Just seeing Phelps off the screen right now went for FAMAS. So that's a declaration that we are going to see a buy coming up. Henny can still drop an assault rifle or FAMAS if needs be. It's what he's just doing as I'm speaking. So Immortals will have a buy into this round. They've got to start to plug some of these gaps because EnVyUS are having the complete run of the map, and there's very little that's stopping them right now.
Well, I mean, second half, we haven't really seen all too much except for the pistol round, and then playing against the force buy, and then playing against an eco, and then the first weapon round. But so far for Envy, it's definitely a perfect situation, and well, their economy is not super pretty, but still they have 3 players that get rebuy, regardless of how this round pans out. And when you're Envy, you're probably gonna buy even if you only have money on 3 players, right?
Oh yeah. The thing is, this is why I mentioned at the very start that if you had no interest in CS 3 or 4 months ago, you didn't know who EnVyUS were as a brand, you'd say, oh, it's a mediocre team, right? They get wrecked off most teams, they're only good on a couple maps. But the fact of the matter is, when you look at these names, it's almost like a who's who list of some crazy individual talented players. So absolutely, if they have 2 or 3 players that will have to force and get a couple of assault rifles, they'll go for it. This is what they're known for doing.
Yeah, they've redefined the metagame a bunch of times in CSGO history. They were notorious for the CZ buys and making them work the force buys. That's what we always like to refer as the Envy play, and also a lot of the time as the Fnatic play too. But we are live now. It's going to be the round number 20, and this is definitely a do or die situation for Immortals off of a force buy as well.
So no room for error from here on out. What's left in the tank for Immortals? Can they bring this back? It would be a pretty sick comeback if they were able to do it, but look at this from EnVyUS. Deciding to just go in for the jugular. They have ruthless aggression. MBK's not going to check. Just below the window. It's going to cost his life. And Showtime, meanwhile, puts down Devil. So a decent trade to start things off. But EnVyUS with Apex has come right back in with 2 more kills. The bomb's been planted. And now familiar territory with a retake and just a smoke in the hands with a decoy. Immortals have to land these kills, and Henny's going to do just that. Bolts, meanwhile, gets sprayed through the smoke. Apex is there for his 3rd. He's actually on for the ace if he can pull off the last 2 kills. But the grenade lands by his feet. 15 health remains in the hands of the top fragger for EnVyUS. Happy's gone walkies, meanwhile, in B tunnels. Immortals can sense the blood in the water. They want to try and convert this round. Apex has picked up a 4th, and he very nearly gets a 5th as well. And yes, he will. Comes back round through window. EnVyUS take it down, and Apex take a bow. You have been ridiculous. 26 for 10.
I mean, I was actually saying this in pre-show that this should be like the kind of a tournament where it's going to be the big fishes are obviously we were talking about flip side as well being the big fish in a small pond, but these guys are like whales in a small pond. Apex and Kenny being monster players, and that's going to be Apex coming in with that ace in the right moment in time to put his team at 14. Now MBK already made his way towards long. It's going to make 2 kills on Henny and Phelps to open things up. And as I think, well, it's half die from Immortals, so they haven't really invested on this one. Waltz is going to get a kill on Apex. Give a little bit of hope for the Brazilian side of doing something in this round, but the side already being cleared by Envy, so it should be an afterplan situation momentarily. And no kit or anything like that for the Seeds to play with.
I think this is Immortals on life support, and EnVyUS going to do the kind thing, administer euthanasia. Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Exactly what you mean.
It's the flat line.
Immortals definitely have flat lines so far, I'd say. They had some brief moments of brilliance. They got 6 rounds in a row, and since then EnVyUS have retaken that spree and ran home with it. So Immortals, last chance saloon, 9 rounds required to take us into overtime. Double ups in this one at least. One of the best buys we've seen on their CT side. Full grenades as well. And EnVyUS have been ruthless.
They definitely have right now. Envy has sent 3 players towards the tunnels. Maybe they're going to take a peek. I think Kenny had the best spawn, so he's just going to be taking a peek towards the B bomb side, but he's not getting really anything out of it, as both of the 2 players from the CT side are playing a bomb side instead of that plateau. But look at this. Kenny's teammates are just going to be walking into the A bomb side. Showtime on Lucas open things up. 2 kills coming down. It's a quick 5-on-3 favoring the CT side. And that's going to be the push from Envy to stop that extracts.
Much better from Immortals, but have they left it too little too late? Is it just a drop in the ocean? That's what it feels like. Or maybe EnVyUS aren't done just yet in round 22. Devil lands the entry. Down goes Bolts. That's been one of the talisman for Immortals for quite some time now, especially in this game. Phelps just runs into the firing squads, goes for the flashbang and charges it down afterwards.
Was there a lack of communication going on for the CTs? Like, they should have known there's nobody on top of an A site. Now that becomes very doable for Envy. They are sitting good with HP, and they also have a couple of smokes to work with, a flash, even a Molotov. And he's going to be under immense pressure from Long and also now from Catwalk, but he's going to connect somehow to Happy before getting taken down by Devil. And it becomes a 2-on-2. The crossover gets smoked off, and they make their way towards that A bomb side. Now the bomb is getting planted too. And it's going to be a long plateau plant, so if Kenny makes his way to Long, it'll be all over. But as I say that though, there's a CT coming from Long. That's going to be Lucas. I think it's going to find Kenny, who's going to hit that shot too. I think this could be it. Showtime needs to do some crazy stuff for this to be possible.
How are Immortals even in this situation? This round was theirs. It was dead to rights, but the door gets opened back up again from EnVyUS, and they will oblige with clear-cut kills, the bomb plant. Now Showtime caught between 2 players. Devil gets tagged, unfortunate, partially through the box, but EnVyUS are going to take it 16-6 again though. Immortals, I've got to say, they're a bit disappointing.
Very underwhelming, to be honest with you. I mean, starting off by losing the pistol in the first half and then going down 5-0 based off of a B rush when they had everything bought, and then having the eco obviously, and then having their own little streak, and then basically losing right out after that. I mean, I think that was Envy getting something like 11 rounds in a row total in this match.
Yeah. Immortals got 6 in a row after the 5-0 start, and then EnVyUS just ran away with it.
So it's 11 rounds in a row.
Absolutely.
That's getting steamrolled. I mean, obviously, this could be some flashbacks for Immortals on major qualifiers. Remember, boys, what happened last time? But at least the system is not so that they're going to be in an elimination match after this. Instead, they have to make sure that they're not going to be looking at 3 losses at any point in this tournament, and they're going to make their way to the major. But if they keep playing like this, I think it's going to be a tough battle for Immortals.
We did highlight before that one of the previous 2 victories EnVyUS got was over Immortals, previously known as Tempo Storm, of course. On Dust2, it was 16-9. This is even more one-sided. It's even more emphatic from EnVyUS. So maybe this is a bit of a vulnerability for Immortals going through into the latter stages. But take nothing away from EnVyUS. They played very well indeed. There was a couple of hiccups, a couple of misplays for sure. It wasn't perfect Counter-Strike, but it was more than good enough.
Yeah, exactly. Just as it's supposed to be in this kind of a tournament. I mean, even though it's quality teams, but we're talking about Envy, who is a former major champion, who's obviously had a tough first 6 months of the year, but this is where they get to have their retaliation.
Yep, we're going to throw it over to the interview stage. Take it away, Mitch.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Envy coming out of the gates pretty darn strong, I think it's safe to say. Apex looking really animated actually as well. He was bugging people to give him high fives after rounds. He was very excited, and the yell we heard there as well at the end. Guys didn't say too much during the game, but at the end, some of the emotions start to come out. The only black mark on that game for you guys really was maybe the 6 rounds that Immortals managed to get away in a row in that first half. I mean, they sort of started to get something going. When that kind of happens to you guys, what are you saying to each other to try and shut that down?
Yeah, we're not really sure whether to take a timeout or not, but we started off the game with a lot of energy. And yeah, we just ended up losing it after 5 rounds because, I don't know, those 5 first rounds were fairly easy on our side. And then we just lost that competitivity, and we just let the rounds slip away pretty much. We were just outplayed left, right, center on those 6 rounds in a row. And yeah, there was, like, we just literally let it slip away. We're just not really on point working together. And yeah, we're not sure whether to take a timeout to take that energy again together. And then that one round when we managed to stop them to get the last 3 rounds, we just stopped their rush pretty much, and that gave us some momentum back in our team. And from there, we just, yeah, we're all hitting our shots. Apex was a very good game, and yeah, very happy about the whole team performing that good.
Absolutely. I mean, very, very strong performance. Let's be honest here. What do you say to those people that write you guys off now after a rough couple months? What would you have to say to them, you know, especially now as we're starting to see you guys try something new and starting to see some things work?
I mean, we're still far from over. we have a very good game, but yeah, we've been trying new things. Devil is leading right now. We're really swapping all the roles around pretty much. Changed some positions, binomials, and yeah, there's not much to say. They were right to criticize us because we didn't play up to our level and to what we achieved in the past. And yeah, we're just trying everything we can to get out of that slump, and we try to take it with no arrogance in the fact that we are trying everything new and swapping things until they work. And it showed today that we are slowly grinding back. We have more confidence, we're playing more freely, and I guess it can be felt in the fact that all the players perform well today, and hopefully we can keep it that way and grab the 3-0. But yeah, there's still a long shot to go before saying that we are back, and yeah, we still have to keep on working. It's an encouraging result, obviously, because it was fairly large score, but we just need to keep grinding and never lose that mentality of grinding and aiming for the top, because we went down and now we have everything to prove again.
And you guys said as well, you're back to the drawing board. You're approaching this without any arrogance, I guess you were sort of saying. When you're thinking like that, is it sometimes hard to keep self-confidence in yourself, especially when obviously you're trying new things and you're trying, and you're sort of not feeling like you're actually getting out of the mud? Have you ever had moments over the last couple of months where you've really struggled with your self-confidence, or even a team, your whole team in general?
Yeah, sure. It's just small things falling apart, and then your whole confidence goes down. And when the whole confidence goes down, it's just very hard to get it back. And what we could learn from history, though, with NIP is that they've been struggling for a year. And the only moment where they picked it up was when they actually had fun together. And so we're trying to install that game in our game by being more free, allowing more people to do whatever they want. And that's also why we swapped leadership, at least for this event, to just try to have more fun while we're playing together. And that's what we're doing since a week or two. We just enjoy more, and it just shows up in the results in the headshots. So it feels very good to play again, and hopefully we can get the qualification.
Fantastic. I've got more questions to ask you, but we'll probably get a chance to chat later, hopefully. So good stuff to you guys, and good luck in your upcoming game. Well, Alex and the desk, there you have it. It is an Envy that have made some changes here, and so far it doesn't look too bad as well. Definitely a strong showing, but we definitely want to know what you guys think.
Well, I'll be honest, some eyebrows were raised. Thanks very much, Mitch and NBK. Can we just stop everything we're doing and address Devil is now in-game leading? That's some the inside scoop that we were unable to find beforehand. And honestly, we learned a lot from that interview. It does, you know, he hinted at it in the pre-match. He suggested, okay, we're trying a few new things, but not only that, new leadership structure. They're trying to have some more fun. They're trying to take a leaf perhaps out, you know, Fnatic's book, where it's just, you know, take a step away from strats, and they do seem to be kind of finding results.
Let's be honest, that's what the whole team did. That was void of strategy for the better part of it. That was brute force all the way.
It was happiness as well, though.
Yeah, it's definitely an unexpected change, especially having the new guy being the one to, well, thrown into the responsibility.
That sort
role.
of equates, though, when you think of it, to what Cloud9 did with
Slemmy.
with bringing Slemmy in. And
Yeah.
it's like, all right, why is he leading? Because he's like probably the most inexperienced player on the roster. But
then again, Slemmy did have a background of actually calling
Yeah.
at his old teams, and I'm not sure if that's the case for Devil.
yeah, I wouldn't.
So yeah, no, it definitely caught me off guard. But it's fun to see them actually, well, playing better.
Yeah.
And you can definitely tell that it's oftentimes we talk about Apex as being an explosive players who either is very on or off, and within the first 3 rounds of the game or something, he had 11 frags. So that definitely was a bit of a warning sign for Immortals about what's about to come.
I mean, Apex turns up, and I think that with kind of the opposite can be said for Immortals and their individuals. We often hail them as having some incredible players, and actually, the main man that caught most of our attention was Boltz. A couple of really sterling rounds, that ace that just made no sense, battling Kenny AKV AWP and winning it. But that 16-6 is quite jarring for someone that was expecting big things. We were at the desk suggesting they were one of the most guaranteed a spot teams, into the top 8.
Still think they are. But this is just, I guess,
Bump.
this just solidifies EnVy's, current form. That kind of answers a couple of questions that we had about EnVy, because EnVy should be a good enough team to qualify without too many issues. Yeah. And then, well, now we've seen that they've definitely came in here prepared, and they should be able to, grab one of those spots. So there's no real, downside for Immortals to actually lose to a team like EnVy, who's on form. That's definitely no shame in that.
And just the kind of closing thoughts on exactly how one-sided this game was. Did it just come down to the pistols in the end? Do you think that would have been a much more different game had the Brazilians picked up a couple of pistol rounds, or was that EnVy's game all the way?
Just do the math on it.
I mean, of course,
but if you just do the general math on it, it immediately would have been a much closer game if you subtracted out the rounds to either side of that one. Ultimately, it just seemed like with Immortals starting off so slowly, they were never really able to get that momentum going, and it shows in players like Henny or N1 never really being able to pick up that sort of momentum, and he was pretty low on the score because of that. Where normally he's a pretty leading fragger for the team.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, well, let's get ahead and take a quick break. Let's catch our breath before we do prepare ourselves for our next game. And before we do that, I want to remind you about this application on your smartphone. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
No.
It's called the Score Esports application. Enables you to go ahead and understand just how this format is working, as well as the results that have already gone down. You also get to get a little preview of what's coming up, and I can give you that as well. We get to see Optic, Gambit. We're going to be seeing FaZe, Dig. We've got a whole lot of huge games just on the horizon. This day is just halfway done. More CSGO coming up after the break. Stay tuned.